All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. Think about it. Thursday. Let me see if I can fix this. So where is people? Oh, okay, Con. All right, shalom. Back at it again, man. Think about it. Thursday. Want to say all praises, glory, and honor be to the Most High God by way of His only begotten Son. Want to say a mighty shalom to everyone who endured the fast, the nationwide fast that we did, starting at yesterday, the 13th at sundown. That ends tonight at sundown. So if the sun is down, mighty shalom for enduring. Most High willing, it was very edifying spiritually. Hope, Lord willing, you prayed. Lord willing, you studied. If you had the opportunity, if you didn't, even if you abstained from the food and the water, Most High willing that the Most High made it. Um, Most High willing, He made it. I would say very challenging for you to endure. So we know these things are a shadow of the things to come when we take these fasts. It's not to be taken lightly or anything. So we definitely give our praises to the Father for just giving us the spirit of being able to endure these things. So like I'm trying to copy and share links, whatnot. But I know we getting started on here a little past time. We didn't even drop. I didn't even drop a link, y'all. I didn't drop the ball today. But we doing it, pursuing the spouse part 2. We just gonna go over a little bit of details that we went over yesterday through the spirit. We didn't touch on a lot of things. We did touch on a lot of things, excuse me, but there's gonna be some things that we touch on again a little bit more today as well. So, which is why we getting on here for a part 2 for Think About It Thursday. But like I said, man, shalom for the nation for tuning in. Hopefully everybody is tuning in. Um, I know those who are ending the fast probably gonna get on here crunching and munching. So, hey, the water for joining. The water for joining. Let me get this banner going in the bats down here. All our information is on here at the bottom. So if you need to get in contact with us, or if anything, you just want to stay in touch with us, all of our social media is going to be posted in the description, as well as it's going across the screen on this banner at the bottom down here. So if the Most High puts it on your spirit to donate, we got a cash app. If not, I mean, hey, it's all cool. We're not asking. It's just if Twitter, we we got a YouTube account. We got a Gmail that you can email us questions, comments, concerns, any prayer requests. Definitely email us that stuff because um, we want to be of service more than just YouTube and more than just on the street corners. We want to be online. We want to be in person in your face with it. So um, going into that, saying if any brothers or sisters in the Middle Georgia area and they want to, fellowship, never hesitate to hit us up. We definitely try to be open. Um, we want to fellowship with other brothers and sisters as well. So I'm gonna get a brother's time to get on here. If not, we just gonna move on through the spirit. Not something that it ain't something that is grievous. Let me see comments in the chat. Kind. But like we said, man, pursuing a spouse part 2. Yesterday I was on the iPad. Uh, Today I'm back on the headset. So most high willing, we'll be straight. But let me go get my sword real quick. I'll be right back. Let me go get my sword. Are we back on this thing now? Let's see. Let me get a while the brothers is joining. Let me get a precept real quick to go over something real quick. Let me get a precept just to kind of go over what we went over yesterday a little bit. Let me see. Shalom.
So
All right, let me get this precept real quick. All right, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 2. Hmm. Uh, Genesis chapter 2 and verse 18. And it says, "And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him." Right? So, going over a synopsis of what we went over yesterday, just talking a little bit about some of the things that we touched on. Basically, pursuing a spouse, right? So we know that woman was made for the man, not man made for the woman, right? But we touched on a lot of things when it comes to like courting, even though we know that term is not officially found in scripture. But we talked about, the righteous way of dating or proving someone before you get married. We talked about little things that entitled with marriage. Just wanted to go a little bit more detail and some other factors that you should consider while trying to pursue a spouse outside of, the typical things that we spoke on. We know that you got to find somebody who's pleasing the Lord. Got to find some. You got to first of all know how to please the Lord yourself. You got to love yourself. We talked about all that. You got to add anything, brother?
yeah, First Corinthians 14:40, let all things be done decently and in order. We also went over that first because first and foremost in anything, not just finding a spouse, but also when you want a new job, want a
Mhm.
house, you want a family, when you want anything, everything has to be done decent and in order. And the first thing that's always first is seeking the kingdom first. And when you seek the kingdom, we went over how you actually do that, right? Because once you seek the kingdom and you order your steps aright, you know what I'm saying, then all will, what I'm saying, be given unto you.
Con, yo, definitely seek the kingdom first. Matthew 6:33. That's very important, and that's why we said like those are some of the things that we talked about yesterday. Seeking the kingdom, knowing that the Most High God is first, and knowing that He's the last. So at the end of the day, if you want a spouse, you got to seek the kingdom because He comes before your spouse. And after your spouse has passed, or you know what I'm saying, it's Most High forbid. But if you become a widow, or if you're a man who your wife passed away, what you gonna have after that? The Most High. So it's important to know that it starts and ends with the Most High. That's a very important to know when you're pursuing a spouse. It begins and ends with the Most High. You can't want a spouse without, and then like the brothers were saying yesterday, get a spouse and then forsake the Most High. It doesn't work like that because He gives it and He takes it away. But I just want to pull up something real quick.
Right.
Um,
The good Lord gives and the good Lord takes away. You know what I'm saying? He reigns on the just and the unjust. So in anything, man, especially in a marriage or when you're trying to build a relationship with anybody, whether it be a friendship or trying to make a spouse, you know what I'm saying? You got to expect for fiery trials to come about. And you also have to think about those things before they happen. That's why Paul says he would want us to be living as if we were single, right? Because when we're single, we're always chasing the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? Think about when you're in a season of singleness, right? Whether, you know what I'm saying, you're by yourself and you need a job, or whether you need a spouse, or whether you need clarity on something. A lot of us, what we do, we go into, like today, fasting, praying, right? We're going to reading. We're going to when we're single by ourselves, it's a lot easier to have a relationship with the Most High God because nobody else is in the way. So Paul was saying, hey, even though you're married, even though you are with a spouse, live as if you're single still. Meaning, just like the brother Yeshaya said, if something happens down the line to your spouse, you'll still have that relationship with the Most High God, and you won't have to try to figure that relationship back out.
Con, let me bring out this in 1 Corinthians 7. It said, this is Paul speaking, and we're going to read it as written for the lost sheep. It says, for I would that all men were even as I myself, because we know Paul was a eunuch. We went into a eunuch yesterday. But every man hath his proper gift of God, one after this manner and another after that. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them to, if they abide even as I. So it's good to abide like Paul dwelt, like a eunuch, by yourself. Why? Because the brother brought out an example of Stranger Things and how one of the brothers was a eunuch on the show, and his mind wasn't even really giving in to, um, those lustly desires that a lot of brothers and sisters may struggle with, even in the truth,
Game of
especially when
Thrones.
pursuing a spouse. Go ahead.
Like, yeah, he said Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, Game of Thrones. Yeah, not Stranger Things, but Game of Thrones.
Nobody's
Salakia.
been watching Netflix today.
Man, I do not watch Stranger Things. I do not watch Netflix. That's for the record. I don't watch Netflix. I don't watch TV, anything. I just be watching. If I'm not watching videos on YouTube, about the truth, I'm watching pursuits, high speed pursuit chases. I know that's kind of weird, but on topic, man. Reading this again, it says, I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them to it's Salakia. It is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. I want to go into that a little bit, right? Starting at verse number 9. Shalom to the sisters watching the
Right, because
live.
because
Go ahead.
shalom, shalom. But I was gonna say, when a lot of people hear this in the world or in the Christian church, they don't know what this means. They're like, burn. What is that talking about? Is that talking about burning lust? Is that talking about burning hell? What's that talking about? You know what I'm saying? So it's a precept that what I'm saying a lot of people need clarity on.
Con. Make it clear. Break that down. Tell us what it means.
No, 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 no. I was just setting you up because I know you said you was about to focus on it.
Nah. I want to hear you. I want to hear your understanding on it.
My understanding is both. You know what I'm saying? Uh, my understanding is both. It's double to that which is so. Of course, burning in your lust. You know what I'm saying? And also, burning in that lake of fire. You know what I'm saying? Because if you burn it in your lust, what did James say? Um, it's conceived. So sin is like a baby. You'll lust after something and you think about it, and then it's conceived inside of you, and then it comes out in your actions, and you'll end up going off and then going to the lake of fire. You know what I'm saying? But fine,
Con.
I feel like both.
That's only reason I asked you to do that, Salaki. I don't mean to be like a put you on spot type of thing. Only reason I asked because I know that you said that's like the Christian church way of thinking about it, and I was just like, that's kind of my way of thinking about it too. But I
No,
don't know.
no, I'm not. When I say the Christian church type of way, I was just like, it puts people in limbo. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they're wrong in thinking, but they try to. I know I've been in plenty of conversations where people's like, no, it just means burning the lake. It doesn't actually mean burning your lust. And I've been in plenty of conversations where people are like, no, it means burning your lust because lust is like a fire that consumes you, blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm saying?
I
Con.
would
I'm here.
I would
I'm here.
argue I would argue that it is talking about burning the lust just because we know that Paul talked to us about I believe is that in Romans or Corinthians
Romans
where it talks
1.
about giving up to vile affection because they were burning in
Yeah.
their lust one towards another. So I
Right.
would think he would be using the same vernacular in this sense when it talks about burning.
Right. That's why I was asking because I was just, I don't want to say anything that you brothers disagree with openly. You know what I'm saying? because that's the way I was thinking that he was talking about burning in lust one toward another. So mighty understanding by the brother Azrael and reaffirmed by the brother Donal, just to make sure that I'm on the same page with the brothers in the spirit. So when it's going to 1 Corinthians 7 and 9, it says, "But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than burn." Now, the only reason I wanted to go into this a little bit more today, and most high willing, we're not going to be extra long today, not no 2 hours. Lord willing, if we can keep it under an hour, maybe even more, a little more. It's cool. I think personally, and like I said, I speak as a man because Paul spoke as a man during this whole exhortation right here. But when it comes to this understanding, a lot of people in the truth, we got to realize something, that at the end of the day, we all are still in fleshly bodies, right? So I'm going to segue my way into saying that this can go a lot of avenues when it comes to reading this. Understanding when we're proving or pursuing a spouse, a lot of times, we kind of tread water with. I'm how do I word this? We flirt with people, but actually in a physical sense, right? So what I'm saying is not flirting as in a brother using pickup lines or a sister using pickup lines or making slick comments or looking at you a certain way. But I'm saying we flirt with marriage as in, we get around brothers and sisters that who are we trying to prove, and then we start having these lustly desires, and then those lustly desires lead to lustful actions, and not necessarily uh all the way pleasure, you know what I'm saying, but things that could lead to that, kissing, kissing in the sensitive parts, other type of behaviors that um a lot of times when people are proving people, it goes that route, right? So you got to understand, when Paul is giving this advice, this whole speech in synopsis was on, fornication. Because if you go back up, right? Nevertheless, and it is good. Let me start at verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, right? Why is it good for a man not to touch a woman? Because we know that, like Paul is reaffirming through the Corinthians, you know what I'm saying? Spiritual fornication is heavy, right? That's in spiritual fornication can be heavy in our nation too, as well as physical fornication. That's why he says in verse 2, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Paul is trying to teach us to make ourselves free from fornication, which is why he's giving this advice. Go ahead, brother.
Um, can I bring out a precept?
Go ahead. Do your thing.
James 1:13.
James chapter 1 and verse number 13.
Just to back up what you're saying, because the heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it?
Right.
We bring up the example of a relationship all the time. A lot of us in the world, we thought we loved somebody until we had sex with them or laid down with them, and then out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying, you like, get out my room, or you don't text them back, or you don't love them no more after you lay down with them. Because why? Your heart deceived you. So when a lot of people say, just go with your heart, well, what's in your heart? Hey, guess what? Your heart is desperately wicked. Go with the commandments. Go with the Most High God,
Right.
right? He's not going to steer you wrong.
Let me Salakia, let me read this. James 1 and 13. It says, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man.
Right? Verse 14 is the point.
Verse number 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed.
Right? So he's drawn away from his own lust or her own lust. So guess what? When you're like the Christian church loves to say, don't shack up, right? That's not in the Bible, but you know what I'm saying? Why would you shack up? Because you're gonna be drawn away of your own lust. You're gonna be looking at that partner's lips. You're gonna be looking at that partner's shape, her body shape. You're gonna be, you know what I'm saying, wanting to touch each other, hold hands. Next thing you know, you're rubbing hands. Next thing you know, one thing leads to the next. And next thing you know, y'all are doing the dirty. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And you're asking yourself, how did I let this happen? Or is this feeling mutual, or did we just act off of pure flesh? right? And now you're battling between, man, do I need to pray and repent and fast? Am I in the wrong? Or is this, you know what I'm saying? But if you have chastisement and endure as a blessed eunuch, right, you'll be able to think clearly, right, about the person that you're with or
Con.
want to be with.
Hey, Con, reaffirming what I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to say it in a PG way, to whereas I don't offend any viewers that may watch, but in an overall sense, that's all I'm just saying. It's just like we in the truth, just make it plain. I'm just make it plain as day. In the truth, man, when you're trying to pursue a spouse, there's going to be times where you're sexually tempted with this person, whoever you're trying to prove. So that's why I want to get into a lot of that, because a lot of times, yes, everything we went over yesterday definitely was great, especially by the brothers bringing out the points of, hey, it starts and ends with the Most High. That's what the brothers were saying. You got to have the Most High in you in order to have the Most High in your spouse. That's the only way it's going to happen. That's the only way it's going to be honorable. But also, you got to know that there's other things outside of making sure you're diligent in the spirit to pursuing a spouse, right? Part of it, part of you being diligent in the spirit is dealing with your lustly desires when you're around the person who you want to be your rib or your head. You have to deal with that. We have to address these things, right? Because like the brother Azrael was saying, you don't want to be in a situation to where you was moving in the moment and now you wake up regretting the action that you did. Now you questioning, should I repent? Now you questioning like, damn, what did I really do? Salakia for the language. But what did I really do? What did I get myself into? Because you don't want to be a few months down the line, now you realize that everything about this person is not what you really thought it was. You were so in haste to get married, or you were so in haste to have a spouse, that you didn't take time to truly evaluate the qualities that this person has about them spiritually and physically outside of lust of the flesh, outside of sexual desires. That's why we're saying that it's important for you to consider all factors when you're proving somebody. Don't just use sex as an obstacle, or excuse me, don't use sex as a blueprint for what you want in a spouse. Use the things that we talked about yesterday when it comes to the spirit and the physical and how to operate in the spirit and the physical, right? But go ahead,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just like what you're saying, when you find yourself in these situations, when you wake up in somebody else's bed and you find out you're an adulterer because you didn't ask enough questions or you weren't patient enough and you were hasty to credit a friend. When you wake up and now you're in a situation where you knew what you was doing, he knew what he was doing, but now y'all regret it. Now all of a sudden it's not marriage. Now all of a sudden y'all didn't consummate anything. But going into it, y'all both knew what y'all was doing. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make the point that you're tempted by your own self, right? Your own lust, your own flesh. Most High God didn't put you in that situation. You did because you didn't take heed to his commandments. Uh, and I know that brings about a lot of depression in our people that's coming into this truth because we've been without this law for so long. We don't know how to operate decent and in order. You know what I'm saying? We're too used to the rap music. We're too used to the R&B songs, to the reality TV shows that normalize and dumb down uh, how serious it is when you're looking for a spouse, a forever partner.
That should tell you a lot about yourself and whoever you're trying to be with in those instances, right? Because it all boils down to self-discipline and self-accountability and honoring boundaries, right? If you guys set boundaries, if you're not going to honor the boundaries that you set going into it, just imagine how it's going to be when you finally, what I'm saying, commit to each other as man, husband and wife. The boundaries that you set will be crossed then as right? And we see too much in Israel going on. Like the brother was saying, people have that understanding of, oh yeah, we're gonna do this and it's gonna symbolize our marriage, right? And then they lay down, they do the dirty, and then one of them, if not both of them, regret it, or they come to a conclusion that we can try this again. That doesn't have to count, right? Knowing you went before the Lord to do these things, right? And one thing about it, I think it's in Proverbs, I think, or Ecclesiastes, where it says, if a man vow, right, best believe God gonna get that back in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying?
Con.
And he doesn't take them lightly. You might think you can erase it, right? One grace and all that, but hey, look, at the end of the day, you're adultery, and then you can be in denial you want to, but you're gonna have to pay for that eventually.
Con.
Hey, Yeshaya, can I say
Go,
something before you go ahead and spearhead this?
go ahead.
I was gonna say, we also talked last night about asking at the mouth of God. You know what I'm saying? And part of seeking the kingdom first is to come to Him with your desires. It says, right? He wants us to pray for our desires and believe that we received it. But a lot of us, what do? Am I frozen? No, I'm not. So
No,
a
you're
lot
not.
of us, what do? We go to IG Live to our favorite celebrity. You know what I'm saying? We listen to talk shows on the radio, talk shows on YouTube, podcasts, and we get advice from all these worldly people on how to stay in a relationship. Kevin Gates, you know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of people think they can give relationship advice, and we're not asking at the mouth of God. So what we're doing tonight is breaking down the scripture so you know what the mouth of God says concerning these things.
Right. Like we saying, man, it's important to know that you definitely can go off truth especially when you're pursuing a spouse. If anything, that's a lot of times a lot of people go off the most when you're pursuing a spouse, because you got to understand that just because you have these desires doesn't make it right. You know what I'm saying? We're not saying that you we're not saying that, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't be attracted to the man or woman that you want. But at the same time, don't let that fatal attraction be fatal unto your spirit and your soul, right? All we saying is that when it comes to dealing with what Paul is saying in 1 Corinthians 9, hey, it's better to marry, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. In order to take that step of marriage, you have to first and foremost in your mind sit down with this person and make sure that this is what y'all want to do. Y'all are in agreement and y'all making this covenant before the Most High. You know what I'm saying? If y'all not on the same page, if it's just a spur of the moment type of thing, y'all ain't had no conversation. All y'all doing is just kissing and getting straight into it. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna find yourself in a lot of regretful situations, right? Use the pain. I would rather deal with the pain of regret or the pain of sacrifice than the pain of regret, because the pain of regret can be long term. The pain of sacrifice is temporary. It's important for us to put off our flesh, right? That's what we're commanded to do. We have to flee fornication, like it says, I think in 1 Corinthians 6 and 18. We have to flee fornication, which is why we're saying that when pursuing a spouse, this is one of the main things that people are going to be tempted with: sex, sexual pleasure, thinking about sex. Some people haven't had sex in years when they came into the truth. They hadn't slept with another person since they came into the truth. Now all of a sudden they get into the truth, they prove with somebody, and here come that lust of the flesh creeping back in again, wanting you to think about, oh, I wonder what brother working with down there. Oh, I wonder what sister feeling like in there. You know what I'm saying? Let me read this in Ecclesiasticus real quick. Ecclesiasticus 9 and 5. It says, gaze not on the maid, that thou not fall by those things that are precious in her. So you got to be careful when you're gazing at women, right? Did we not learn from David when he was looking at Bathsheba? When David was looking at Bathsheba, Uriah the Hittite's wife, ended up getting Uriah the Hittite off in a modern day terminology sense. End up getting Uriah the Hittite killed, right? Because he looked at this woman and he had lustful thoughts unto her. He thought she was beautiful. A lot of times we got to stop undressing women with our mind, and women have to stop undressing men with the mind. That's why we said it starts and begins with the Most High. Let me bring this out real quick.
Didn't didn't we learn also in the book of Susanna from the two wicked priests that was
Right,
undressing? Well, they weren't undressing, they snuck their way. How you gonna be a priest and you're gonna sneak your way in to see somebody take their clothes off and take a bath? You know what I'm saying? And in that book it says that they had forgot the laws of the most high God.
right,
The lust of the flesh will do. It will make you temporarily blind, and then you have to live with the consequences.
right. Let's read this. Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. It says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that what it Salakia, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So you got to transform your mind in the truth. We know that. But you also have to keep transforming your mind in this truth. Get what I'm saying? I'm saying two things. You got to transform your mind in the truth, and you got to transform your mind in the truth. The difference is, I'm saying that every situation that you get into the truth, when you've never dealt with something, let me word this better. In the world, when you come into the truth, there's a lot of things that you put off from the world. Now, when you get in the truth, you're presented with the opportunity to act as if you're in the world with a same type of scenario, right? This is where you have to transform your mind again. You can't just come into the knowledge of the truth and then think you're an Israelite, and then all of a sudden now sin is from you. It's gone. No, you have to transform your mind in every situation. Like I said, analogy. Some brothers and sisters may abstain from sexual having sex with men or women when they first come into the truth. They stay abstinent for a very long time. Then comes a point where they're starting to talk to somebody. They're going through a proving process with somebody. Now all of a sudden it's like those sexual thoughts are coming back and creeping in. This is where you have to transform your mind again. You don't want to be you don't want to have a situation like the brothers were saying where you're regretful. You have to put off lust from your mind each and every day, which is why Romans 12:2, I'm bringing up the scenario or making the comparison that even when presented with sexual desires, you have to understand that just because you like this person doesn't mean that you should do that, just offering advice. So that way you're not thinking with your inward parts, and you're actually thinking with the mind of the Most High, like the brother Azrael said, thinking about the will of God, not the will of your flesh. That's easily how people are deceived when it comes to marriage, is by lust of the flesh. That's how people get deceived in life, is because lust of the flesh. You know what I'm saying? Brother Azrael made a beautiful point. He said, we've been apart from this law for so long. It's like we became so lawless. The world glorifies sex with somebody before you marry them, right? The world glorifies, I can sleep with this person, but not have that. You know what I'm saying? The world glorifies, hey, look, my relationship is going to be built off the way this person pleases me sexually, right? We don't
Hey,
want you to have that situation in the truth. Go ahead. Sorry.
hey, the world glorifies. Hey, let me test drive this car before I buy it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Could I get a precept real quick? In 1 Corinthians 10, chapter 13.
1 Corinthians 10, Salakia, and verse number 13. It says right here, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man.
Hey, look, there's no temptation that's out there that every man is not going through, right?
Right.
But but
But
God is
God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able.
this is what the precept that they go to, especially in the Christian church, where it says, man, God won't give you anything that you can't bear, right? Keep reading though.
Right. But will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
Right. So how are you gonna, when they say God won't give you anything that you can't bear? What does this mean, right? Because we see through the scripture sometimes He does give some things that you can't bear. But what is He saying at that very last part, that ye may be able to bear it? How are you gonna be able to bear it? Because He's gonna provide an escape route for you, right? With that temptation comes that scapegoat. But you got to be smart enough and wise enough to take it when you be put in these situations. That's why I was harping on self accountability and self discipline, right? Not just for the men, but for the women, right? Especially for the women. It's important that the women take hold to self accountability and discipline before the men, because men, a lot of times we become weak in this area when it comes to dealing with women. So women, you gotta be that pillar. Like say if you're courting somebody, if you're seeing somebody and you ain't yet married yet, you end up with them, right? And yeah, things are getting a little hot, a little bit intimate, right? You have to be the one to take that escape route, right? He says that He won't put too much on you, and even if He does put too much on you, right? He's gonna provide that escape, right? That window of opportunity. But that window of opportunity is oftentimes very slim, right? So you got about probably about 5 minutes to make that final decision to take that escape route before things go south, right? You might find yourself in a situation, a brother or a sister might be kissing up on your neck and this, that, and the third, and you might see where things are going. It's up to you to say, hold up. We both in the truth. We know better than this. I'm gonna cut this out. I'm gonna cut this short real quick, right? And one thing I think anybody in the truth, and if they don't respect that, I think anybody in the truth will respect that to the point where, okay, this might be my rib for sure if she's checking me like this. This might be my head for sure if he's checking me like this. And if they don't respect that, then you know off rip that person's not even for you. You know what I'm saying? But you always got that small window that you need to take, right? And the Lord's gonna make it plain for you, right? But you got to take that window. If not, things can get ugly.
Right. It's important because, like the brother was saying, man, hey, the Most High will give us a way. It's maybe a small window, but it's a window big enough for you to get out of if your heart desires to abstain from fornicate. But if not, better make sure that that person that you end up going the full mile with, y'all are together for the long haul. Because guess what, man? Like the brother was saying, in this truth, like we saying, we presented with all types of temptation. That's why this is such a beautiful precept. We're presented with all types of temptation, and all of it's common because everybody who came before us went through the same exact thing. We're trying to say that we need to learn how to be more spiritually disciplined and physically disciplined, especially in the area of lust of the flesh, because a lot of people struggle in that area that we may not know. And we just want to be a vessel to help them. Go ahead, Ox.
Con, I was gonna say, but both y'all said is right on point. But I had two precepts I was gonna pull out just because, like I said, you know, we're just now understanding that we're the people of this book, right? And we're just now understanding that the things written aforetime was written for us to learn from, right? Mighty examples, right? We have bad examples and good examples on how to live. The first place I want to go, I had two precepts. The first place I want to go was Genesis 39 and 12.
Okay, you gonna steal my story, huh?
Oh, you was going there? You don't gotta
No,
go
I
there.
wasn't. I was just messing with you.
Oh, Salakia.
Con. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 39. Wait, what's the other one? So I can have that ready too.
The other one is gonna be in Ruth chapter 3.
Okay, let me pull that real quick. And then we go right back to Genesis 39. Salakia. Ruth chapter 3. All right. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 39, and verse number 12. Matter of fact, for context, let me start at verse number
Right there, 4. I think. Well,
hold on.
6. I think.
7. Let me start at 7. It said, and it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. Jumping down to verse number 12. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out.
Right. So a lot of us, we got to be like Job. Like the brothers are saying, it's that split second, right? That split second of, am I going to do what's right under the Most High God's eyes, right? Or am I going to, like Sirach says, a wicked man finds a way to do his own thing. You know what I'm saying? Paraphrasing. And a lot of us, we find a way to do our own thing. We'll say, well, in the law, you know, it's lawful for us to do this. You know that, right? Look, let me take you to the book of Judges. Let me show you what Samson was doing. Let me take you to the book of Songs of Solomon. Let's see how he was talking, right? A lot of us, we love to justify our sin, right? And not dim it, but you got to be like Joseph, one of our forefathers, and actually flee from it, right? You actually have, he said he fled, got him out. They had to what's it called when you re-emphasize him leaving, you know what I'm saying? He fled and got him out. You know what I'm saying? So he left out. Right. And he left in a hurry, you know what I'm saying? And he left without his garment on. That's how quick you have to be, you know what I'm saying, on your P's and Q's, because you know the deceiver, Satan, the devil, he's walking around as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, and he could try you at any moment. And you got to be able to run when, you know what I'm saying, the Most High God say run.
Con, man, I just want to point out, man, that's a mighty story, man. And just put yourself in Joseph's shoes, right? I'm sure, you know what I'm saying, it flashed across his mind when he was being tempted, right? I'm sure she brought out all the bells and whistles, man. She probably made herself look very nice, right? She probably was smelling good, and she was the queen to Pharaoh, right? And so she probably wasn't an ugly lady, and she was coming on to him strong, and he had the self-discipline and self-accountability about himself enough to flee the scene and take that little window, that 5-minute window, right? That escape route.
Right. And you got to think too, modern day. What does this look like modern day? Imagine a celebrity woman came into the truth or was posing to come into the truth, but she's still married to her husband, right? We know this probably wouldn't happen, but imagine Beyonce supposedly came into the truth and she's hitting on you. You know what I'm saying? And we know that she's still married to Jay-Z, but you go and lie to yourself and say, well, that marriage doesn't count under the Most High God's eyes. And blah, blah, blah,
well, he ain't in the truth.
He's not in the truth, though. You know what I'm saying? You think Joseph did that? No, Joseph didn't care about her stature. Joseph didn't, respect anybody of the poor or the rich. He saw what was commanded by God and he fled from that fornication. And we got to do the same thing. When we're because a lot of times when you see somebody over and over and over again on social media, right, you'll end up fantasizing about them. And when you see them in person, it's like, dang, your body can't handle it. And then you just go with the flow. You don't even, put the Most High God in your remembrance no more. And everything is just, flesh, 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 right? But you deceive yourself and you think that it's the Most High God allowing you to do sin. But God never tempts man.
Going to Ruth chapter 3, which verse you wanted to start at?
The point I wanted is in 13, but start at verse 7.
Ruth chapter 3, verse number 7. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of corn.
Right.
And
so Boaz was at this party, you know what I'm saying? Because he just came back in town, and guess what? They was eating and drinking. You know what I'm saying? So he was feeling good.
Right. And she came softly and uncovered his feet and laid her down.
Right. Go to verse 10.
Verse number 10. And he said,
Wait, no, 9. It's lucky. 9.
Verse number 9. And he said, who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth, thine handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman.
Right. So she made herself ready in this man's bedroom while he's, you know what I'm saying, a little filling the wine. He's full off a drink, had a great night. It's midnight, right? Verse 8 says it's midnight or past midnight. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows when it's past midnight, nobody's mind is thinking clearly, right? So what would you do, right? If a woman put herself at your bed and said, I'm your servant, do to me as you wish. You know what I'm saying? What would you do if a random woman in the truth, right? You just came into the truth. You feeling like a king. You feeling like a priest. You just came into the truth. And a woman says, guess what? I want to be your wife. And she looks beautiful. You don't ask no questions, right? You know what I'm saying? But let's see what Boaz did. Let's see if Boaz was able to be prudent in matters and be decent and in order.
Verse number 13. It said, tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning.
Right. Go to verse 12 real quick.
Verse number 12. And now it is true that I am thy near kinsman. Howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I.
Right. So, hey, look, Boaz could have laid down with her and said, hey, screw it. Hey, look, this is of the Most High God. She came in my bedroom. This is of me. This is the Most High God. He could have said, hey, all steps are ordered. Right. Who cares about the other kinsman? Right. It's past midnight. He got a little wine in his system. We all know in the world when you text somebody past 10 o'clock, you know what I'm saying, what time it is. You
start quoting that scripture, hey, judge not a man when he's drunk. And then he goes down and lays with her.
Right. And see, Nabal, if this was Nabal, a fool, he would have laid down with her, right? But guess what? I just want to let y'all know that this was not an easy thing. Once again, if we were in the world, if somebody calling your phone past 10 o'clock, not even midnight, past 10 o'clock, somebody texting your phone past 10 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? Whoever you with is like, who's that? Your mom like, who that? Your dad like, who that? Your girlfriend like, who that? Your boyfriend like, who that? Because at nighttime, we don't think clearly. And if you hit somebody up or show up in somebody's bedroom, you know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, hey, we get the point. You know what I'm saying? But this man, Boaz, was able to think clearly, right? We got to be able to think clearly in a moment's time, right? Verse 13 says, tarry this night, meaning wait. He's saying, hold up, let's not be hasty. Let's not be hasty. Wait, tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning that if he will, a lot of us just gotta wait until the sun come up. Just wait till the night passes, and you'll have a clearer head. But a lot of us, we get a little wine in our system, we feeling good. It's the nighttime, we're laid up next to somebody. You know what I'm saying? But if you just wait till the morning, a lot of us just gotta wait till the morning, and we'll get our blessing. That if he will perform unto thee the part of kinsman, because why? Everything must be done decent and in order. Here, according to the law, the near kinsman law, somebody was next in line before him. So he wanted to be decent and in order. That is seeking the kingdom first, doing what's called of you according to the word of God, right? Let him do the kinsman part. But if he will not do the part of a kinsman to thee, then will I do the part of a kinsman to thee, as the Lord liveth, lie down unto the morning. And I just want to say as a testimony, whenever I was proving women, I always asked. I went on a 3-day fast for each and every one of them, and I asked the Most High God. I said, if she's for me, let it be smooth. But if she's not, but then give me a sign, right? Let her act up. Let something strange happen. Give me a feeling or a sign, right? Let me come across a scripture that reminds me of why this is not the one for me. And every single time, like night and day, he would give me a sign. Sometimes an audible voice. Sometimes it would be right at the end of my fast. I don't want to actually bring out actual situations because, I want to keep some things close to the bosom. But, you know what I'm saying? Every single time, like Boaz did, if there's another man for you, may the Most High God lead you. If you're for me, well, the Most High God will order my steps. But I'm going to tarry. I'm going to wait a little bit and not be hasty. But
be not hasty in the time of trouble.
Right. The brother fasted 100 days. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I didn't prove that many women.
Hey, Yeshaya.
Go ahead, God.
Can I get one precept before we get off this or switch gears a little bit? Can we? It's in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiastes. Sirach, chapter. Oh, you was already in 9. Oh, yeah. you probably already touched on it then.
Which one you was looking for? 8,
9.
Oh yeah, I didn't. We can read this one too because this goes right with the story of Joseph.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna bring it out.
I was gonna read this one too. I had read 5 earlier, but This is Sirach 9:9. It says, Salakia, Sirach 9:9, or Ecclesiasticus. Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine.
Right, and I want to emphasize this part too. Spend not thy money with her at the wine. This doesn't even necessarily have to be wine, but just like you got some guys that have work wives and stuff like that, and they'll go and have brunch and have dinner and have breakfast with other men's wives, right? And call it, oh, that's just my friend, that's just my best friend, right? And we see this all the time, right? But I'm led to believe, contrary to popular belief, I'm not really one for, the mingling with other people's husbands and other people's wives as friends, especially if your spouse ain't there, right? Or if you don't even have a spouse. And this is a scripture why I would say that. If we keep reading on, it says, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction. It says, lest thine heart incline unto her. This is giving you wisdom, saying that, hey, look, if you're a man and you spend any amount of time with a woman, doesn't matter if she's married, single, or not, right, your heart is going to start to incline unto her, especially if you're attracted to this woman, right? And so thy desire thou fall into destruction. What destruction is this talking about? The destruction of you becoming an adulterer, right? You becoming a fornicator. You know what I'm saying? That's why these things are smart not to, hey, if that's another man's wife, let her enjoy drinking wine and eating with her own husband, right? You shouldn't, you're not there to, you, if she has to vent, she should be able to vent to her own husband. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of these situations we put ourselves in when we go against, clear boundaries. But now today in 2022, there's no boundaries. Anything goes. And that's why our people are falling into destruction everywhere we look.
Right. So this is why brothers are going into understanding that, hey, lust of the flesh is one of the biggest things you can fall in when it comes to proving trying to pursue a spouse. You definitely have to be spiritually and physically disciplined in order to, have a clear head of thinking about the man or woman that you want to make your head or your rib for the rest of y'all life, however long y'all live. Sometimes, like the brother said, if you go to Ruth and just wait till the morning, you will think clear, right? I can see clearly now the rain is gone, you know, because we know why. The freeze come out at night, like the brother said. If you giving into wine and it's late at night, you got a woman sitting at your feet. I mean, how would most brothers respond to that? You know, and that's where you got to question, like, okay, even though you know what I'm saying, you can take this woman to be a wife. Are you sure that's what you want to do in that moment? Because at the end of the day, this is going to be a lifetime decision, you know, versus if you just sit back and take a minute to think and say, nah, that's just the lust talking, you know. We had a brother today. We talking about giving alms. We talking about giving alms, and we had a brother today he was talking about. He was like, "Hey, me and my rib gonna make sandwiches, right?" One of the brothers responded. He talking about like for us or for the needy, and the other brother responded like for the needy, man. What is you thinking? He said that's just the fast talking. Sometimes you got to understand, like, sometimes when you dealing with somebody, you know what I'm saying. You going through that proving process, and you with them, and y'all in private. Hey, think about the decision that you make before you make it, because sometimes it could just be the lust talking. The lust could be telling you, "Ooh, that sister look good, man. She 5'7", 149 pounds, 24." You know, yeah, I know all the songs. The sister could look good, or the brother could be looking good. You know, hey, the brother might be tall, dark, and handsome, or you might like shorter brothers. Brother might be short and handsome. You might like his stature. You might like his countenance, right? He got a nice smile. He smell good. He keep himself cleaned up. The sister look the same. You know, she got a nice smile. She look good. She keep herself cleaned up. Y'all kind of attracted to each other. You know, you got to be able to have that. This is just a lust talking type of thinking when it comes to pursuing a spouse, because, like we say, we just don't want y'all to be in situations whereas in you regret anything that you do. You know, we believe that, hey, when you take that vow, you make that covenant, and you got to stick to that. You know, so we don't want our people breaking commandments out here because they thinking like, well, we slept together, but I didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just chalk it up to I'm gonna repent. You know, we just fornicated. Fornication just as bad. And let me bring out something real quick.
You know,
Brothers got anything to
a
add?
lot of people do run to the fornication thing as if that's a saving grace. No,
Right.
it's just fornication. Like fornication is pretty much equal to adultery. You know what I'm saying? And you know, a lot of people will go and say, well, sex isn't marriage. You know what I'm saying? I'm under the understanding that you need both sex and you both need the agreement, you know what I'm saying, for sex to be marriage. But for people that's just saying like, nah, you need this sex is not marriage because X, Y, and Z, and then they'll say, um, you know, brothers just as horny and brothers just want to make girls their wives. Guess what? You should want to make girls your wives and not just a fornication, buddy. You know what I'm saying? But you know, nonetheless, um, we gotta do better at ordering our steps. You know what I'm saying? Like the two examples that were just brought out from our forefathers, Joseph and from Boaz. You know what I'm saying? Mighty men that did not haste in the hour of temptation, but what they did was they took heed to the commandments and they fled fornication. right? Flee fornication, and then guess what? All things are gonna be added to you at the end of the day. Because a lot of us, man, we come into this truth, and we've been without this Bible for so long. We didn't know we were the people of the book. We didn't know this was our heritage, and we feel like we're behind. So a lot of us want, like the brother brought out the other day, a lot of us what? We want to be married. We want to have kids. We want to have a husband. We want to have a wife. We want to, what I'm saying, have a helpmeet. And consequently, we end up rushing the process. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, you shouldn't rush a lifelong union or a lifelong partnership. But that's what we end up doing because we feel like we're older than we actually are. Well, all we have to do, like the brother said, is wait the night out, and we can see clearly when the sun comes up in the morning.
Right. Now, if when the sun come up in the morning and you in the same mindset, then hey, okay, all praises, go for it. If that's what you really want to do, and if that's what y'all made an agreement on, do y'all thing, you know. But at the end of the day, all we trying to say is like, make sure you sure that this is what you want to do before you do it, right? Because every action got a consequence, like The Rock said. Let me bring out this in Wisdom of Solomon 10. I'm gonna kind of shift a little bit, right? Oh no, not 10, 7. Wisdom of Solomon 7:2. Right. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna read something, right? Because when we on the topic of pleasure and sexual desires, right? So this is Solomon speaking. Verse number 1. I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. It's talking about Adam. Verse number 2. And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man and the pleasure that came with sleep. Right? So, what is this talking about? Sex. All right. This is the pleasure that comes with sleep. That's why when people have sex, they say terms like, did y'all sleep together? Or we slept together. It's not literally talking about two people sharing a bed and sleeping in the same bed, one at the head of the bed, one at the foot of the bed, and they slept together. That's not what that means. Slept together, even in the sense that Solomon is using, meaning two people that got to it. You know what I'm saying? Got right at it, got physical. So, what a little point that I want to go into here is talking about a little bit about the sexual aspect of things. We know, like we said, like we've been saying over and over again, coming out of the world, man, a lot of us were probably fleshly driven people. And if you weren't fleshly driven, when you did fulfill those fleshly desires, you wanted those desires to be pleasurable. And if not, you associated with a bad experience. Now the person that you're with, the person that you did that fulfilled that fleshly act with, that fornication with, now they're looked at as a not so good person because they didn't please you the right manner in the bedroom. You got to understand that the whole purpose of having that pleasure, right? Not saying that you shouldn't have pleasure in the bed with your husband and wife. Not look at it as, I think Africans are the ones who cut the woman's clitoris off to whereas they can't feel pleasure. Only the man supposed to feel pleasure, something like that. I don't know if that's Africans who do that. I don't know what part of Africa they practice that in, but I've heard that before. But
I think it's I want to say it's the Arabians. I don't think it's the Africans. I think it's
oh,
the Middle Eastern.
well, hey, whoever, a lot of some other nations of people, they take their women and they chop their clitoris off so that way they won't experience no type of pleasure during sex. Why? Because pleasure with sex is fine, but literally having sex isn't for the sake of making me feel good, right? It's for the sake of making each other feel good, essentially making the man feel good to get the seed from his man parts, right? That's why it feels so good. And that's the way the Most High ordained it, right? But lo and behold, I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to have desirable pleasure in the bed with your spouse. What I'm saying is, don't use the idea of pleasurable desires to be the blueprint of what you want in a spouse. Because let me tell you, think about it like this. Just think about it Thursday. So think about it. Give or take, I don't know how, and madness, you know what I'm saying? I'm not finna say nothing off, but just follow me here. PG-13. But all I'm saying is, think about it. You have sex at the most for probably about, I don't know how long brothers be going, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it can be for 20 minutes. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, that's cool, right? Say at the most we're gonna go an hour. Say we just gonna leave it at an hour. Say you have sex for an hour long. That's an hour out of quote unquote 24 hours within a day. So if you're not having sex all day, every day, and you only have sex 1 hour of the day, you have to, excuse me, you have to spend the rest of your life with this person. You're telling me that pleasure for 1 hour is what deems this person not worthy to be with for a lifetime. Because when it comes to having a spouse, there's a multitude of things that can qualify or disqualify a person. Sex should be the least of the categories. The first category should be, like we said at the beginning, starting with the Most High. The Most High should be the beginning and the end of any conversation you have when it comes to proving someone, pursuing someone, which is why I'm not telling y'all to not have, not want that for yourself, because it's pleasure that comes with sleep. It's not a sin to have pleasure with the sleep, but the sleep is for the intentions of creating that offspring like Solomon is describing here. Not saying that it's a sin to have sex outside of when you're trying to get pregnant. Don't take it as me saying that. I'm saying that don't use sex as a principal basis on whether or not a man or woman is good enough for you. Like the brother was saying earlier, example, David looking at Bathsheba bathing, just like the two men in Susanna, the two priests, how they found their way and crept their way in to look at Susanna undressing herself. You know, hey, we do these things because we want to take a peek at what the brother or sister working with. You know what I'm saying? We want to take a peek at that. That's kind of off. Go ahead, brother.
Con, it's a precept to back that. It's Sirach chapter 41, and I'm gonna start at verse 17, right?
Let me read it. It says, Sirach 41 and 17, or Sirach 41 and 17. Be ashamed of whoredom before father and mother.
Right. I'm gonna stop right there and emphasize that part, man, because we're supposed to be ashamed when we commit whoredoms, right? Now, and it's gonna start listing a bunch of things you should be ashamed for. Let's go down to verse 20.
Verse number
20. Yeah, we can start at verse 20.
Verse 20. And of silence before them that salute thee.
So you should be ashamed of these things, right? On bad. Keep going.
And to look upon an harlot.
Like, even if you looking upon harlots, right? You scrolling through Instagram, you seeing all them Instagram baddies and whatnot, right? It should be a shame to if you looking at them for too long, right? I know they be popping up on the sticky page. I make it a point that if I see them on my timeline, man, and I happen to follow them, I go ahead and hit that unfollow, bro. Because I know when I was in the world, I used to follow them a lot, but now I've come to this truth, man. I understand that. Look, it's a shame to look upon a harlot. And not to call these girls harlots out here, but hey, I'm just calling a spade a spade. If you're on here, if you're on social media showing your body, right, and you're not even doing it for no money, you're not even doing it for no money, so you a free harlot. You know what I'm saying? It's a bad look, right? Can you read the next verse for me? Verse 21.
Verse 21. It says, "And to turn away thy face from thy kinsman."
Right. Keep reading.
Or to take away a portion or a gift.
And this is the point. Keep reading.
Or to gaze upon another man's wife.
To gaze upon another man's wife, right? He was talking about David, right? You should be ashamed if you catch yourself looking at another man's wife for too long. You should be ashamed, bro. Right? You should want to leave at that point, right? That's why when you go out and whatnot, it's always important that you're talking. If you're a man, you're talking to the man, right? You know what I'm saying? You making eye contact with the man. Right? Because hey, look, some people's wives might be beautiful, you know what I'm saying? And you might get caught up in that lust when you get caught up in that lust and you staring for too long, that's something that should be ashamed. You should be ashamed for, right? And ultimately that can lead in a rabbit hole to other things, right? She might look at you and start batting her eyes or something like that. Next thing you know, you following the sister on Instagram, right? Next thing you know, you in her DMs and commenting on every story. Right. Next thing you know, you got her phone number now. Now y'all meeting up. Right. It leads down to things that that can lead you to destruction.
Go ahead, Op.
Con, you know what I'm saying? I always like to make this stuff modern day, but you know what I'm saying? Just like with Boaz, if we just wait to the morning, a lot of times we'll get our answer. Sometimes we'll get blessed. Like Boaz got blessed. He was able to take her as a wife, you know what I'm saying? Because he waited. But a lot of us end up being like David, and we wake up in the morning and have to deal with the consequences. And now you got to add sin to sin and go kill this dude because that's it, really her wife, meaning her husband, and X, Y, and Z, right? And we could see that's double to that, which is that could be a multitude of different situations. You know, you wake up and you have to deal with baby mama drama. Or you wake up, you have to deal with, oh, I didn't know that, you know, she was put away and that she was still your wife. And I didn't know that what we did was marriage, or I didn't know you was under the impression, you know what I'm saying? You wake up and you have a lot to deal with if you don't do it decently and in order, you know what I'm saying? But like the brother was saying, a lot of times we just have to wait it out. And when it comes to the gazing at harlots, you know what I'm saying? You got to tell yourself, even women too, when you're on social media or when you see somebody in person, you got to say, man, he's not in the truth. She's not in the truth. You know, a lot of times in the world, we say, man, I gotta date somebody that's my people because only she's gonna know what it's like to be me. We're gonna connect on a different level. We know what the cookout's like. We know what family reunion is like. We know what certain things that go on in the household when we're raised up as kids. And that's the same thing in this truth. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at these other people. Yeah, they might look good, but guess what? They got a bunch of demons that come with them. So that should turn you off in itself. Like, man, they're not gonna give me peace of mind. They don't know what's going on in the world. They're not in this truth. You know what I'm saying? Your spouse should be in this truth, especially at this point in time where we're living in the last days. Your spouse should be in the truth. And if the person's not in the truth, you're wasting your time looking, wasting your time double tapping, you're wasting your time fantasizing, you're wasting your time DMing these people, man. Stop DMing. You know what I'm saying? Do everything decent and in order. I will say I got my wife through a DM, but you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that. I'm just playing. But you know what your intentions are, you know what I'm saying, if you're DMing somebody or if you're approaching somebody, if it's lust or not, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us, like the brother said, will DM brothers' spouses. A lot of us will DM sisters' husbands, you know what I'm saying? Well, it's get kind of tricky because brothers be taking multiple wives, but you know what I'm saying? A lot of times things are not decent and in order, and we have to watch what we say and how we act according to the scriptures. You know what I'm saying?
Just want to elaborate too on what the point you just made. We know that, hey, look, a lot of times you are going to meet your significant other, you know, probably through a social platform. Like the brother said, he started with his wife through a social platform. But when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, brothers, and when it comes to the women, brothers have to be careful about, you know, the things that you say. You got to kind of tread lightly, walk on eggshells. If you hit the sister up, you asking her the necessary questions, okay, cool. But if you know the sister's kind of courting somebody and you kind of like, oh well, shoot, you know, it ain't until they, you know, seal the deal. I'm gonna shoot my shot. It's off, you know. And sisters, when it comes to a man who already has a wife, you know, if the brother believes in polygyny, you know, hey, I can't give no true wisdom on that case because I wouldn't know how as a woman you would attack that. But I would say it's always tread lightly. Have respect unto the first union that, you know what I'm saying, he created with that other woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say, you know, be upfront with everything. And also, if you follow his wife, go ahead and DM her too. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to start off any union, whether it's a single relationship or if it's multiple. You don't want to start off any union with strife. You know what I'm saying? Or backdooring. You know what I'm saying? Just be open and honest. And be decent and in order in all things. But Khan, to what the brother was saying.
And I was gonna say, man, I know on social media there's a one girl, man, and one sister, and I know she had a video going around about how she had married into a family and had a sister wife and a husband, and they were kicking her out, right? Because she had married somebody that wasn't like-minded and she wasn't equally yoked with the husband or the woman, right? Why in the world, I don't know the sister's name, but she believed in the whole Bible, but she married into a family that was Old Testament only, right? And why in the world would you do that if it was if? And that's why I said last video, right? We gotta take ourselves out of desperation, because a lot of us feel desperate to the point where, yeah, I believe in the whole Bible, but he's willing to take me, right? And you know what I'm saying? So you go ahead and you do what you got to do, but now she's back at square one. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through the proper decent and order steps, man, and don't be hasty and don't make moves out of desperation, right? If you're a daughter of Zion, if you're a king in Israel, right, you should not be desperate for nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, like we said yesterday, hey man, you're worth having a spouse. If it wasn't so, Most High wouldn't have ordained it from the beginning to create women for man to be a helpmeet, right? That's Sirach 36:24. When a man getteth a wife, he beginning possession unto himself a helpmeet, a pillar of rest. I think I quoted that right. But if I didn't, Salakia, but it's in there. But Khan, just elaborating more on that, it's just like understand that you have to be careful and tread lightly about the decisions that you make when it comes to pursuing a spouse, which is why we say, hey, sexual desires is something that goes uncovered a lot, and that's because people chalk it up to, hey, that's on them. And at the end of the day, y'all who are watching this and y'all who will watch this, it's y'all who gonna have that mind, that decision, ultimate decision to make in terms of how you act when it comes to pursuing one. If you're a sister looking to have a husband, or if you're a brother looking to obtain a wife, you know what I'm saying? Hey, always keep in mind that there's a right and wrong way to do everything, and it's not just people in the world that go off. People in the truth can go off too. And one of the biggest stumbling blocks is because we don't understand that our sexual desires can take hold of us in this truth too. So be disciplined, you know, like I was elaborating on in Wisdom of Solomon 10, Wisdom of Solomon 7. I'm not saying you shouldn't want to have pleasure in bed. What I'm saying is that pleasure in bed should be the last thing that you ever use to try to prove whether someone's is quality or fit enough to be your spouse, because equivalating time with purpose, you know what I'm saying? You need a job more than you need to have sex in life, because money is going to require you to pay for bills. Money is going to require you to pay for gas. Hey, with all this inflation going on, you need more money right now than you probably need some sexual desires, you know what I'm saying, fulfilled, right? And all I'm saying is that when it comes to that understanding, don't use that as a basis to decide whether your spouse is fit or not. Don't be trying to get sneak peeks of what the brother or sister got to see that, oh yeah, I'm gonna be enjoying this. Because no, that is something that you should understand. Your union is for the Most High first. First, it starts and end with the Most High. You know what I'm saying? If they're gone, if your spouse leaves, you only going to be able to fall back on the Most High. So let the Most High and that person's relationship with the Most High be the deciding factor, not whether or not they can make you do some of the things that brothers be watching on internet. You know what I'm saying? Not whether the sister can look like the women that be looking like on internet. You know what I'm saying? We got to get out of that mindset. We got to get into the mindset of, this woman's my wife because her relationship with the Most High is very important. Um, it made me feel better. Her relationship with the Most High made me attracted to her more so than the way she looked or the way she was built. That's how you got to have that mindset, because at the end of the day, your salvation is not contingent upon how whether brother or sister is good in bed or not. Your salvation is contingent upon, are y'all keeping the law, statutes, and commandments and having faith, you know what I'm saying, in Christ. Brother, gotta ask him.
Con, man. You know how like the brother Hezekiah has that song. I want a wife that loves you more than loves you more than she loved me, right? You know
Pure.
what I'm saying? And it's, as speaking as a man, as a married man, I can boldly say, hey, look, um, I feel way more, how can I say this? More relieved to have a wife that is like-minded like me, who's in the truth, right? Who I can depend on to make certain decisions. right? Because and we think the same, we make our decisions the same. I can say that that right there weighs way more than the little bit of time that you're gonna have in the bedroom, right? You know what I'm saying? Because when you truly find a wife that's pretty much the female version of you, or a husband that's the male version of you, it just makes life that much easier. Like pillar of rest is an understanding when you can rely on somebody and you don't have to, you know what I'm saying, be worried and have trust issues with them, or even be like their taskmaster or their supervisor. You know what I'm saying? When you can just cohesively live. But to do that, to get to that level, you're gonna have to take some time out, right? And see what that person is about, you know. And it's kind of hard getting past that physical level, especially if you haven't been with a person yet, and that person is a handsome man or a very attractive woman, right? It's hard to get past that, but you have to have the self discipline to get past that physical fleshly barrier to get to actually know that person, because it could be a life or death situation when you get with somebody and you thought that you know you're gonna be able to live and coincide with this person, but now you realize, hey, it's your life is miserable. Because I'll tell you one thing, right? It doesn't matter how good that person looks or how good your experience with each other is in the bed. When you guys are butting heads, when you guys aren't seeing eye to eye, when you guys are unequally yoked, it's gonna limit that time in the bed, first of all. And you know what I'm saying, it's gonna have a way more heavier, it's gonna put a way more heavier burden on your relationship than, you know what I'm saying, whatever the sex could have added on onto your relationship, if that makes sense.
Go ahead, brother Azariel. I know you had to say something.
Um, yeah, I was gonna read something in Sirach chapter 25.
Let me pull it up. Just so
Sirach 25 and 1.
3 things that I was beautified in. Yep. It says right here, Sirach or
Right.
Ecclesiasticus.
So really,
You said read it?
Is he
yeah,
frozen?
you can.
Oh, okay, Khan. It said, in
You can
3
read it.
things I was beautified and stood up both beautiful, Salakia, and stood up beautiful both before God and men. The unity of brethren.
Right. So if you want to be beautiful, this is how you be beautiful to the nation, to people, to your peers, and to the Most High God.
Right. The love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together.
Right. So we have a brother that we know, prisoners of Yahushua, um, named Aliyah, and I can just hear his voice now. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Even like today, like the brother was saying, a brother in his rib wanted to make sandwiches for the needy, for the homeless, and the brother said, "That's beautiful," right? That's the scriptures actually living today. He said 3 things was he beautified before God and men, right? And so when a woman agrees with her husband, and a husband agrees with her wife, guess what? Other people can see that. The Most High God sees that. That's honorable. And also, you don't have you don't have to worry about what's in my girl's phone, what's in my man's phone. You don't have to worry about certain situations that come during family time, right? Because guess what? You know you don't celebrate holidays no more. You know you don't do X, Y, and Z. Y'all know how y'all both feel about these things, and y'all can move in the same spirit. And y'all could both be hated by family together. Y'all could both be loved by the brethren together. Y'all can both be loved by the Most High God together. Y'all can walk one and one together. You know what I'm saying? And that's beautiful. And like what the brother Denal was saying, it's literally a rest that you don't know that you needed, right? When you finally get the person that's the opposite, the opposite sex of you. You know what I'm saying?
Khan.
Because trust me, there's one out there. You just have to be patient and wait. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of us, if we rush into it, we get into relationships where we don't agree. Like the brother was going in with the lady that was put away, modern day put away. You know what I'm saying, for not having the same doctrine. You know what I'm saying? So you want to agree together.
Khan. Hey, like the brother was saying, man, a man and a wife that agree together, you don't just agree together in bed. You know what I'm saying? That's not the only time that agreeing together makes, what I'm saying, makes the most sense. No, like the brother Donald was saying, other times, man, sex isn't so desirable when y'all butting heads. Like if you really just wanted to have a, a relationship to where you can get pleased in bed, you know what I'm saying, and that be the deciding factor, you could have just stayed in the world. The world is why everything is so skewed by the factor of sex, is because pornography is so open to the public now. You can literally type it in on your phone right now and go watch it. And pornography destroys your mind because guess what it does? It creates in your mind a false image of what sex should look like. Oh, I want to get dead like that. Oh, I want to do somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? And in a sense, we all come out from the world where we've seen it, we probably lived it, and guess what? Now all of a sudden we come into the truth and we want those same aspects. Well, sometimes you got to humble yourself and understand that, look, I came into the truth because my relationship with the Most High meant more than my fleshly desires. So you have to make sure that, hey, when you coming into the truth, there's a lot of things that you're going to have to change. One of them could be your standpoint of what is brother and sister working with in the bedroom. That's all I'm saying. Not saying that you should, like I said, I'm definitely not saying that you shouldn't want pleasure in bed, but don't let that be the only factor or the one of the key factors. That shouldn't be a key factor at all. You only have sex for like an hour. Say I'm saying hour, give or take. You know what I'm saying? You only having sex for like an hour. An hour of sex, there's 23 other hours you have to deal with this person. So if you're telling me that hour outweighs the other 23 hours, then maybe you need to go back to the drawing board, go read Romans 12 and 2, go read 1 Corinthians 7, go read the end of 1 Corinthians 6, and get an understanding of what it means to literally renew your mind and flee fornication. Go read James chapter 1. Think about the temptation. Go read everything that deals with lust of the flesh and think about, is this the lust of the flesh talking in me? Or is this just really what I'm just looking for? Because if that's all you're looking for, the Most High God gonna send you a wicked man or wicked woman who's gonna lay it down in the bedroom, and you can be like a lot of brothers and sisters that are out here struggling to have a steady household, struggling to have that family, struggling to have that righteous person. We've seen it in the world. We know plenty of people. We've had plenty of relationships in the world where maybe it was good. You know what I'm saying? But it just the relationship overall was terrible. Just like that. I'm pretty sure a lot of brothers and sisters who got baby mamas and baby daddies out here, I'm pretty sure they thought it was good the same way. But overall, the relationship is terrible. You don't want that for yourself. That's why we say, hey, look at somebody's righteousness first. First and foremost, look at their relationship with the Most High. Look at how they treat themselves. Look at how they reverence the Most High. Look at how they treat you. Then, you know what I'm saying? After all those things considered, that should make you want to make that person your husband and wife, right? And I'm going to just go ahead and read this. This is John chapter 7 and verse 24. It said, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment, right? At the end of the day, we all have to use righteous judgment and righteous discernment when it comes to pursuing a spouse. And if you want a person, if you're the person that wants to have a righteous relationship, you know what I'm saying, then you got to think about all factors that come with it. The flesh is literally the most deceitful thing on earth. You will survive without fleshly desires. If you were a eunuch, you would live. The world just makes it seem like you can't live if you were by yourself, because that's what the world was intended to do. Confuse your mind about the strength that the Most High God gave you. The kingdom is inside of you. So if you're the kingdom, if the kingdom is inside of you, if the Most High is supposed to dwell inside of you, if you're his temple, then you got to think about literally, he would probably give you the necessary things to make you strong. But that strength has to come from the word. And if you're not in the word to get that strength, and you're looking at, like the brothers were saying earlier, going to your favorite rapper, going to the sticky page, taking advice from worldly people, and not taking advice of the Most High, then you will destroy yourself by your own thoughts, especially by the lust of your flesh. But brothers, got anything to add?
Just I guess I'll add this little short little story, I guess, man, just to land me back on, you know, how it is good to take your time when you're trying to get to know someone. You know, there was a girl where I used to talk to in the world, and it wasn't for a long time, maybe 3 weeks or so. And it's crazy. It's like night and day. The first 2 weeks, man, you would have swore this girl was sent from heaven, right? It was like an angel and everything. That third week came, started showing her true colors, right? Sometimes, like the brother was saying, you gotta wait till the morning. Sometimes you just gotta wait it out, man, because people are always gonna show them true colors. You know what I'm saying?
Kalakia too, if I can interject.
Go ahead.
I just want to go on record and say you had two brothers in the truth that warned you that would happen. Sometimes your brothers see it in them before you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I guess this is what I'm talking about. But yeah, I definitely had two brothers in the truth at the time. One had found his wife. They still married today, all praises. And then the other one, brother Azrael, right? He was with somebody at the time, but they ended up not working out. But both these brothers was kind of trying to tell me, because I was moving out of a spirit of desperation, I guess, as well. And this girl, man, she seemed like an angel, man. She would cook for me, she would, whenever she said my name, she would say it like, "Oh, Ashton," like real ditzy and whatnot, right? She, acting very subservient, and she was very interested in the truth, but an extent. I'm led to believe that it was all a lie now. I gave the sister one of my Bibles, right? A Bible a Bible I really enjoyed. But lo and behold, she even watched a 4-hour video of Elder Recall. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I was really heavy on GOCC, right? And time went on, and then before you know it, that third week came, and all hell kind of broke loose, and she started showing her real colors, right? The first incident we had was, now she know I'm in the truth. She know what I stand for. This is about the third, right? The first instance where we came into headbutting, it was we was leaving Walmart, right? After I just paid for this girl's groceries, right? Leaving Walmart, and the big poles that are outside of Walmart, the concrete poles, right? And I guess she was very superstitious, but I had not known until this point. And so we walk out and we split the pole. This girl threw a tantrum for an hour outside of Walmart because I told her I would not come back to unsplit that pole, bro. I said, because I told her, I said, hey, look, I said, you know what I stand for. I don't believe in that superstition crap. You know what I'm saying? And, it is what it was. I went to her car, and I sat on the hood of her car for an hour. She out there screaming her head off, talking to the kid at the front of Walmart, talking about some, if I was your girl, would you leave me here? Would you come unsplit the pole? Right? This man is a young Jake, right? He up there, blowing smoke in her ear, talking about some. Yeah, he is kind of messed up for this, that, and the third, right? I'm looking at him like, I should smack him. Right? You know what I'm saying? And so lo and behold, I didn't go back to split the pole, but I did go back to tell her, hey man, you really tripping. This is doing too much. Let's go. Right? She pouted, she called me some names, and then we left, right? Before an hour, right? That blew over, right? The next time I went to go see this girl, we were watching a movie, right? And she started, she wasn't, being subservient no more, right? It was go fix it yourself, nigga. It was that type of time now, right? And it got to the point where, she told me to rub her feet, right? But she did it in a very rude way. You know what I'm saying? And if you really know me, I ain't going for none of that. You know what I'm saying? So
when she said, she was like, rub my feet, nigga. Was it like that?
Oh, I'm gonna get there. Watch this. So she first, right? She fixed herself something to eat, and then I asked her, you know what I'm saying, can I get some too? She was like, you can go fix yourself, nigga, right? And then she gonna ask me to rub her feet, right? Now I did pick up her foot to start rubbing her feet, right? And that's when she said, roughly paraphrasing, that's what she said. She said, yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know what type of bee you thought you was messing with, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, hold up. And immediately in mind, I said, I'm thinking to myself, like, what the heck? what did I just get myself into? And I'm glad I didn't do nothing with this girl. You know what I'm saying? Because she's showing her real colors right now. She was really a real deal Eve out here. You know what I'm saying? But I say all that to say, hey, sometimes you gotta weigh these things out, man, because people are gonna show themselves, and it's not gonna take long for themselves, right? Not people can't hide themselves for too long, right? Especially in the comfortness of just you guys being with no outside sources. People can't suppress themselves for long, right? That demon has to come out. And even in the truth, you might find girls in the truth, right? And they might have a wicked tongue just naturally. They don't know how to speak to men. They don't know how to speak to people in general, right? Just like the girl I was messing with. You know what I'm saying? You get to texting her. Now she's talking to you sideways. And you're like, hold up. Are you even in the truth? You got hold up. Man, if she's talking to me like this now, then you know. And so sometimes you gotta just weigh these things out. And I promise you, you ain't gotta wait long. You don't have to wait long, right? The brother was talking about you might have to wait till the morning. Of course, I said it was about 3 weeks. But hey, look, within 3 weeks, you're gonna see who that person really is, man. You just gotta not be hasty in the time of trouble.
Con, hey, I got a story real quick too, man. Since we telling stories, right? So
hold up, Salakia. I just wanted to go on record to say that when I said your morning, you know what I'm saying, it's double to that, which is, I know we keep saying that a lot, but your morning could be a year. Your morning could be 3 weeks. Your morning could be whatever, how long it takes for the Most High God to want you to wait to your blessing. You know what I'm saying?
Con.
Did I freeze?
So, yeah, you did. Let me tell this story real quick, man. Hey, look. It all started with Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Fear God, keep the commandments, for it is the whole duty of man. That's all I got to say.
God.
But Azrael, you got to add something?
No, you go ahead.
All right. Well, hey, look. I read my closing precept, man. John chapter 7 and verse 24. Look, let me go back real quick. Let me go read this again.
You giving closing precepts? I got a closing precept before you tell your story, I guess.
I ain't got no story for real. Like I said, it started with Ecclesiastes 12:13.
Oh.
That's all I got to say.
Oh, I got a closing after you go back to yours.
Go ahead. What's your precept?
Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse number 24. Get understanding from the Bible, y'all. We got to get understanding in our heritage back. We have to get the wisdom and understanding from it. You know what I'm saying? Not just learn what they did, but get the wisdom and understanding from it. And the end game, right? So this is the Pharisees. They went up to Christ,
saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were with us 7
so
brethren.
like we read in Boaz, Salakia.
Oh,
Salakia. So like we read in the book of Ruth, so like we said in the book of Ruth, we see here they're talking about the near kinsman law. So if I say I was to die and I didn't give my wife a baby, my wife would go to the next near kinsman to me, and so on and so forth, right? So let's keep reading.
Now there were with us 7 brethren, and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother. Likewise the second also, and the third unto the 7th.
Right.
And
so there were 7 brothers, right? There were 7 brothers, and they all shared one wife, right? So a lot of us don't believe that a woman can have more than one husband. Right here, this woman had 7 husbands, right? Continue, please.
And last of all the women died also. Therefore, verse 28, therefore in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her.
Right. So right here, a lot of us, we love sex so much. We love the opposite. We love the lust and that burning sensation and that pleasure so much. We imagine it to be in the heavens, right? a lot of brothers go on the street corner and preach to brothers that don't know the Bible. Brother, you want 7 wives, brother? You want 6 wives, brother? Can come into this truth, right? We've actually heard brothers say that. You know what I'm saying? And
You're
if
gonna
you
get them in the kingdom,
right, that's heathenistic thinking. That's what the Middle Eastern Ishmaelites and people believe, that you're gonna get 100 virgins and stuff like that. You thinking about getting virgins in the kingdom? You shouldn't be in the kingdom, because the kingdom is for the Most High God. You should be wanting to be there with your Lord and your Savior, and you know what I'm saying, His Son. You know what I'm saying? Not for the pleasure that comes with sleep. You're not supposed. Hey, look, we're not going up there for the pleasure that comes with sleep. We're going up there for eternity, right?
It says
Right.
flesh and blood shall not enter.
not enter. Dang, you stole it right out of my mouth.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So for brothers and sisters that are under the impression that you're gonna be married in eternity, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, I'm here to say, 1, get your prophecy in order, right? And 2, take heed to what Christ says, right? Let's read verse 29.
Verse number 29. Reading it as written for the lost sheep. Jesus answered and said unto them, Ye do err, not knowing the scriptures nor the power of God. Verse number 30.
Right.
For
right.
in
So
the
that's why I said get your prophecy together, right? You err not knowing the scriptures or the power of God. The power of God is so mighty, you don't need sex in the kingdom of God. You don't need that, right? And we got to
Right.
get the understanding and the knowing of the scriptures, right? And he's finna
brothers and sisters can't even fathom that. How can something be so good without sex? Brothers and sisters really can't fathom that, because that's all they idolize on this earth.
They think that they're laboring so that they can have sex in the kingdom. A lot of us, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of us are laboring now to get a spouse to think that, oh, getting married is just, hey, we just finna have sex. Oh, have sex.
Bro,
hey,
look, I'm watching Game of Thrones right now, and literally the scene I stopped on before we went to go get food was it's where the new king is consummating the marriage with his new wife, and his wife is significantly older than him, but he's only about 12 years old, right? And he finally did the dirty for the first time, and he looks over at his wife. His wife was just, consoling him. How was it? This, that, and third. And he was like, "Oh, it was great. I want to do this for the rest of my life. This is the only thing I ever want to do in my kingship." And you know what I'm saying? And that's how people are. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing they want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Big Sean got a song with I forgot who it is. He said, if I could quit my job and F you all day, I would. Girl, I would. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, like, is there not more to life than just literally, getting your rocks off? Like, brothers don't want to spend time with their wife. Like, dang, I do care about how my wife day was. I do want to know how she feels. I do want to, be able to show her something that I learned today. I do care about what her favorite color is. Like, is there that anymore?
You know what I'm saying? Being able to have deep conversations with your wife,
right?
Discuss scripture. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that should be, at our forefront of our minds, and not, baby making. If that makes sense.
And one thing's for sure, in Paul's teaching, he said to live, even though you're married, to live as if you were not married, right? So when you're not married, you're not having sex with yourself. You know what I'm saying? So you're not thinking.
You shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be. But come on, let's think kingdom thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should think what you're going to be doing in the kingdom, praising the Most High God all the day long. Holy, holy, holy. You know what I'm saying? But we'll finish the point in verse 30 for y'all that didn't know, right?
Verse number 30. It says, for in the resurrection, they neither marry.
For in the what?
For in the resurrection.
Right. So the resurrection, y'all. Let's get some knowing of the scriptures, right? Continue, please.
They neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God in heaven.
So guess what? It's plain. They neither marry nor are given in marriage. There's no way around that. That's red letter, right? You could be mad with Christ that he said that. You could be mad with the truth, and he could become your enemy for telling you the truth, because you really was looking forward to having multiple wives in the kingdom. But We're not going to the kingdom for that purpose. So that's why everything in this life is temporary. It says that all these things are going to pass away and be forgotten. So that temporary pleasure, the temporary lust, right? Count it just as that, temporary, because it's not going to last. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be fighting over brothers and sisters' wives in the kingdom. We're not going to be deceived by Eve in the kingdom, right? We're not going to be killing brothers for another wife like David did. We're going to be focused on the Most High God. So you might as well start practicing now and focus on the Most High God now, as pertaining to getting your spouse. Because if you seek the kingdom first, then shall she be added unto your life.
Yeah. Hey, seek the kingdom first, man. It starts and ends with the Most High. You know what I'm saying?
If we're giving last statements and last precepts, I got one for you.
Go ahead.
It's the book of Sirach again, right? Still in Ecclesiasticus to keep my mind. 23, chapter 23, and I'm gonna start at verse. It keep me edified.
Yeah, that's what you meant to say the first time.
Verse
You gonna quote him, bro? Quote it right, bro.
God, but verse 18, man. 23 and 18.
23:19, 23:19. Well, 23:18. Ecclesiastes. I was quoting Monsters Inc. Right?
Come on, man. And I want to say right before we read this, man, the information that we're conveying to you guys is very important, man. I know we may joke around here and there, but it's very important, man, because it can lead you into destruction. And that's one thing that we don't want for our brothers and sisters. And this is a little bit of that destruction it could lead you into. So verse 18.
Verse number 18. A man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me?
All right.
I am.
Go ahead, my bad.
I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me.
Right. And so you may get down, you guys might say, okay, we're gonna get married, we're gonna do what it do. You do what it do, right? And then you have those regrets that we talked about, right? Somebody's not happy, right? Somebody's not in love no more. And then you get into trying to separate from each other or wanting a redo or stuff like that, right? Understand this, right? You're like this man that break his wedlock and says in his heart, who sees me, right? I'm in these four walls, right? It's just me and Shawty, right? Or it's just me and him, right? You know, nobody saw what we did. We don't got to tell nobody, right? Keep reading.
What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins.
What need I to fear? The Most High didn't see this, right? And hey, the Most High knows my heart, and He knows that. Hey, I don't consider that to be marriage, even though at first I did, right? But then if we scroll, let's go down to verse 19 real quick. So we'll go 19.
The neighboring verse 19. It says, "Such a man only feareth the eyes of men." This is a cold precept right here. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts.
Right, man. So you can't hide from the Most High God, right? You know, we spoke on this very thing, right? Whatever you do before God, man, He's gonna require you, right? Let's go down to the verse of 21, right?
Verse number 21. This man shall be punished in the streets of the city, and where he suspected not, he shall be taken.
Right. You know what I'm saying? This man or woman, right? This man shall be punished in the streets of the city, and when he expected not, he shall be taken. Right? Because hey, look, the Lord's judgment is like an unto a ring. What goes around comes around. And we always talk about if a man vow a vow, be slack, pay that vow. Because why? The Most High God's gonna he's gonna get his get back. He's the master of getting that get back, right? Because he's pulling all the strings. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching Game of Thrones, and a lot of times people can't get their get back on the Game of Thrones, right? They get to the person they want to kill, and lo and behold, that person died 3 days ago. Somebody else killed him, right? But the Most High is the king of get back, right? So be slack not to pay your vow. If you vow to do something, if you vow to stand before him with this person, right? Honor that, right? Even if you slip up, try your best if you found yourself in a circumstance where you have slipped up, right, and you are very sorrowful for what you've done, be don't be slack to see how you can make it up, in a sense, if that makes sense, right? Whether that be clinging to the scriptures to a certain amount of time to see how you should go about the situation, whether that be trying to reach out to that person to reconsole whatever was broken, right? Always be not slack to pay that vow that you made, right?
Con.
Hey, look, I wanted to make a point too, because the brother went into the eyes of the Lord. Me and my rib, we did a short quick study on the eyes of the Lord, to help better understand the job of some of the angels, right? Because we know there's many different type of angels, but there's also angels that go to and fro through the earth, and they're called the eyes of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So the Most High God, like the brother Denal said, he's always watching. And since brothers always is quoting songs, there's one song I want to quote from The Rock that says, "Trying to get in that book of life." You know what I'm saying?
Shadiah Ward featuring The Rock I Bar.
But I had to get right because I wasn't living right. But check this out though. I want y'all to think about this. In that book of life, is there gonna be a book of Azrael? There's a book of Matthew, there's a book of Mark and John and Luke. Is there gonna be a book of Denal? Is it gonna be a book of Yeshaya? Is it gonna be a book of Azrael? Right? Is it gonna be a book of fill the blank in with your name? And what's gonna be in that book? Is it gonna be a bunch of folly, like what Samson was doing, like what Nabal was doing? Or is it gonna be some righteous acts, like what Moses did? Right? Of course, you're gonna have some slip ups here and there, but you want that book of life when it opens up, when he goes to your book and he sees everything and everything's been recorded, right? You want him to say, you know what, good and faithful servant.
Man,
Come
it's
to the kingdom.
that's mighty, bro. I'm gonna make a reference again back to the Game of Thrones. They had a similar book, right? And they flipped to one person's page, and he's like, "Dang, man, this man has 10 pages under his name, and they're all glorious acts." And they get to another person, right, Jamie Lannister, right, and they say, "Dang, you only have half a page." They read what he did in his life, the good things he's done in his life, and only took like 3 sentences, right? And then the rest was just blank, and that blank is substituted for the negative. And so what's your book gonna have in it? Like the brother said, what's your book gonna have in it? What's your book gonna say? Oh, the brother fell to the sight of women. Oh, the sister became a harlot. You know what I'm saying? What's your book gonna have in it?
Right. Hey, Con, that's definitely a mighty point too, man. Hey, look, when it comes to understanding this, man, don't take anything we say as in you going off, but you can go off with a lot of things that we said. Thus saith the scriptures. Thus saith the Most High. You know what I'm saying? We speak as men, and all we want is just for brothers and sisters to hold themselves accountable and understand that. Hey, look, brothers and sisters in the truth, they're worth more than what you just limit them to their sexual desires and their sexual pleasures. And you should want more for yourself, just to think that you only want a husband for the majority part because you know that they can put it down in the bed, or you only want a wife because you know, hey, they freaky in that bedroom. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop making whores and harlots of our men and our women in this truth. We got to stop limiting our soon to be spouses to what they can provide for me in the sex life. Get you a spouse that can provide for you in the spiritual realm. You know what I'm saying? That's the most important thing. That should be the end all be all, not whether or not you can have that hour of fun. You know what I'm saying? And if you do get a person and y'all have that, you have that understanding, y'all can work together about what it is that y'all can incorporate lawfully in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? But don't let that be the end all be all, because brothers and sisters are worth more than that. Women are definitely worth more than what they look like and what they can provide sexually. Just like men. Men are worth way more than what they look like or what they can provide sexually. You know what I'm saying? You got to have it here first. Because if you know, here is here. You know what I'm saying? According to the scriptures, right? But I'm going to say it again. Hey, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So, most high willing, man, this lesson was edifying in spirit, and hopefully it can come to play out in the truth. For all you all pursuing a spouse, Hey, if you definitely have any questions, comments, concerns, like I said, we got our contact information in the description. We got our social media printed across the bottom. We also have our social media in the description. So I'll never hesitate to hit us up. We young, but we not dumb. You know what I'm saying? We know because we've been there before. That's Titus 3:3. But without further ado, man, I'm gonna go ahead and say, hey, Shalom. Tawada for tuning in to Think About It Thursday. Tawada to those who participated in the nationwide fast. Most High willing, it was edifying. We do appreciate you for closing that fast with your brothers from the hopeful elect, man. But we'll be back on here tomorrow, most High willing, for Factual Friday. Hey, through the spirit, we'll let y'all know what the topic gonna be on, but stay tuned. But all praise to the Most High. I'm Brother Yeshaya.
I'm Brother Donald.
Brother Azrael.
All right, and we are definitely the hopeful elect. All right, but Shalom, Shalom, and Shalom.
Shalom.